When most people think of hot springs, they probably think of open, natural pools, like the Blue Lagoon or Yellowstone National Park. But here in Hot Springs National Park, things are a little different. To oversimplify it a bit, this place is really more of a historical spa experience, and it was a lot more interesting than I anticipated. After doing a little bit more driving, I'm now about an hour away from Hot Springs National Park, and this is going to be a slightly different experience compared to the other parks that I've just been to, because even though there are a few trails here, the main attraction to this park is actually indoors.
I have arrived at my final campsite of the final national park of my trip, but I really just came here to take a look around and check out my spot because I want to head to the visitor center before it closes, because technically that is where I'm going to see my first bit of the national park.
This is the Fordyce Bathhouse, located on the appropriately named Bathhouse Row. At the turn of the 20th century, the natural hot springs underneath this area were made into bathhouses, which were used as sort of a health treatment center, almost like a spa. But spa treatments in the early 1900s were slightly different from what we typically do today.
So this is a steam cabinet. Basically, you just sit in there. It's kind of like those personal inflatable saunas a little bit that they sell on like Temu now. But it's metal and looks a lot more like a medieval torture device. So, same basic idea though.
At the time, the hot springs were thought to have had healing properties, so most of these treatments centered around the water, like this needle shower, for example.
I bet this would hit so hard. It's probably better than the shower's gloves.
But the main attraction is inside each of these stalls. These huge tubs allowed you to soak in your own private thermal bath with water from the hot spring.
Look how thick this tub is.
I look impressed now, but I hadn't seen anything yet.
Can't really fit much in these lockers. Could barely fit you in there.
These bathhouses were opulent experiences, and back in the day, the Fordyce was known to be the most luxurious of them all.
Oh. Okay, I was not expecting this. This is indulgent. Oh my god. Oh my god, you're joking. It's the men's side. Sick. The men get this. And then we just get kind of a little cramped one.
Since these bathhouses were focused on health, these facilities also have a gymnasium with a ton of vintage equipment, including juggling pins. Never thought of that as a form of exercise before.
I knew it was going to smell exactly like my high school gym in there. No questions asked.
The visitor center was about to close, so I headed just a few doors down to the Superior Bathhouse and Brewery for some dinner. Originally opened in 1916, the Superior Bathhouse offered spa services similar to the Fordyce, until it closed in the 80s. But the building reopened as a brewery in 2013, and even though the baths are gone, all the beer here is made with the same thermal spring water.
That was pretty cool. Dinner was nice, and now it's time to go back to the campground. This morning at the campground has been mostly peaceful, and I definitely didn't lock myself out of the van last night at 2 in the morning after going to the bathroom. But if I had, I would have had put in a request with AAA and had some guy come by to save me in 15 minutes with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth the whole time. Legend. Luckily it wasn't too much of an interruption, but I do think I'm going to delay the final part of the park for me to experience until tomorrow morning, because I would like to at least get out on one of these trails today. So I'm going to get my stuff on and hopefully go for a bit of a trail run, which comes right off of the campgrounds.
This trail has me climbing all the way to the top of Gulpha Gorge in less than half a mile, which means this is going to be pretty steep. The geography of this area is also responsible for the hot springs themselves. The cracks in the Ouachita Mountains collect rainwater that seeps closer to the Earth's core, heating the water up in a process that takes over 4,000 years, until it reemerges at the surface at about 140 degrees Fahrenheit.
Now I'm headed back down to the campground, so literally all downhill. And I kind of get a little treat at the end because the final path back to the campground involves crossing the little stream that runs alongside it. Well, after a shower, which, by the way, this campground just got showers like 6 months ago, which is very lucky for me. I'm enjoying my free dinner appetizer of broccoli. And then I think I'm going to fill up my water bottle at one of the springs here.
Hot Springs National Park is full of public fountains with free, clean drinking water, supplied by the hot and cold springs in the area. There are 7 thermal fountains that dispense hot water, but to fill my bottle, I'm here at Whittington Spring, one of 2 cold water fountains in the park. That came out a lot faster than I expected.
It is pretty cool to me though, like how much just like free accessible water this town has. Like locals come here constantly, they're filling up huge jugs. It's kind of cool that just like the local population can benefit from the natural resource of the park itself. But now I get to as well, so I guess it's a taste test. It tastes like pure. That is the most nothing tasting water I've ever had. So, I think it's finally time to leave the campground. But before I leave Hot Springs, I am going to do, I think, probably one of the most unique experiences that I've had in a national park.
This is the Buckstaff Bathhouse, the oldest facility on Bathhouse Row and the only traditional bathhouse still in operation since 1912. I couldn't film too much of the actual treatments since part of the traditional aspect is being completely naked, so phones are not allowed. If you're nervous, they do have you wrapped in a sheet for most of it, so you're not totally on display the whole time. I think that aspect scares a lot of people off, and it almost did for me too, but I cannot emphasize how cool this was.
And have your back towards me. I'm gonna wrap you in a sheet and we'll get you ready for your bath, okay?
Okay, thank you. Did you miss me? So much to talk about. That was 100% the most unique thing I've ever done in a national park. I obviously can't speak for the other bathhouse. I think it's pronounced Owapa, but they're a little bit more modern, so I'm not sure what that's like, but the Buckstaff experience is like so very like legitimate and true to like the historical aspect of things. First they put you in a bathtub. It's huge and like very deep with very hot water, and then they kind of turn on this machine that's like a mix of an outboard motor and a sous vide and it like basically turns it into a jacuzzi. After you do that, they have you lay down with a bunch of hot towels all over you, and they constantly force you to keep like drinking ice water. It's very funny. And then the third step is the steam cabinet. So I legitimately did sit enclosed in one of those like metal cabinets with steam going. Actually, it was pretty nice, although I was a little too tall, so I like kind of had to hunch over in it the whole time, which was a bit uncomfortable. Finally they put you in like a sitz bath and then you get out of there. That is like the traditional treatment. I just asked for whatever like the shortest treatment was, but you can go like full all out and get like a scrub and like a massage and stuff, but I didn't have time for that, and also like you are completely naked in there, so I did feel a little awkward, but it was worth it. Like 100% I would say if you want to have an interesting experience, go to the Buckstaff in Hot Springs. That's really hot water. Hot fountain. I've been so pleasantly surprised by my time in Hot Springs National Park. Despite it not really being what people think of as a traditional park, I just love these weird little highlights of America that I otherwise would have never thought to visit. It's not always big views and long hikes. Sometimes it's just the little quirks that make a place interesting. And I'm excited to take the van to even more interesting places very soon.